Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Cantina MX Football Podcast, episode 337. We got to recap this Liga MX final. Atlas pull off the back-to-back championship in a controversial way. And the Molero Tour is on full throttle. Mexico just lost to Uruguay 3-0. We'll be talking about some of our takes from that and some of the off-season transfers already for Guadalajara. We are live on Twitter Spaces. We are live on YouTube. So hop on YouTube if you want to send us a question or request to speak on Twitter Spaces, and we'll gladly bring you in on the conversation. But before I go any further, let me welcome Joel. Joel, how are we doing?
Good, man. I'm doing good. I'm doing good. So, not surprised the result. A lot of disappointments. A lot of fans leaving the stadium in droves.
Yes, because we all know Mexico fans as being the most loyal, especially in Arizona.
Yeah, well, I mean, Uruguay is a very strong team. I don't know if fans were expecting Mexico to just run over them or to beat them. But I think one thing that was highlight on the match was the difference in strikers.
100%.
Cavani, dude. And it's kind of sad to see Raul Jimenez not at 100, and people are saying he's done, dude. Put a fork in it.
Humpty Dumpty. He hasn't been the same since he got his head cracked by David Luiz. He's been a shell, no pun intended, of his former self. And this is our best guy. This is our number 9. And I think, and I expressed this concern plenty times, like, we don't really have a strong supporting cast as far as next in kin after Raul. I mean, there's not much to look for on the bench, so it is concerning. And also Cavani just making it look easy out there. And he scored a brace today. And if I remember correctly, he's already said his goodbyes to Manchester United, so he still got it,
Do you know
man.
where he's going? Do you know where he's going?
No idea where he's going, but obviously both him and Luis Suarez are both being linked to go to Liga MX.
Oh wow. I would have thought across the border in MLS, but great talents to have if they do end up in Liga MX. But yeah, Uruguay third place in CONMEBOL qualifiers, regarded by many as the most difficult, qualifying to
Confederation.
qualify for it. Yeah. Well, not confederation. I mean, just the way their system is, because they're not in groups. It's one big group,
One table.
as opposed to like in Europe and some other countries where um, you could end up with a really easy group and qualify through that. And then CONMEBOL, a lot of the teams, they're very regular. So yeah, CONMEBOL and Uruguay, they've pretty much been on it for a while now, and it's insane the talent they have. They've always had it.
Especially considering the fact that their population is, I'm gonna see if you know, Joel.
It's like what, 2 million?
3.4 million.
Yeah, it's a small country. I think that's part of it. What it's easier, it's easier for them because they could find the talented people to work with, not just players but coaches. So easier scouting. Uh, as a little kid, we're little kids and we go play AYSO soccer,
Yeah.
and it's someone's dad or grandpa with a AYSO book. They don't know the rules and they just have the kids running around. But in Uruguay, you're more likely to have a former pro, since you're a kid already teaching you. You're more likely to have a family member that played. maybe if they weren't pro, they still played at a high level,
Mm-hmm.
and so already you're at an advantage.
So what you're saying is
Uh,
quality over quantity because Mexico
it
City,
definitely is a lot.
Mexico City alone has a population of 8.8 million, which would be like double the size of Uruguay. So,
I thought it was 20.
20? Just
Yeah, I
I'm
thought it
talking about
was like
Mexico City.
yeah, Mexico City.
Like that. Oh, I'm getting conflicting things here. Greater Mexico City is 22.
Oh,
Yeah, not sure what that means.
damn. But yeah, it's still even at 8,
Yeah.
more than double. Um, no, I mean that's what helps some of these countries. Same with Belgium and Holland, that they're small and it's easier to scout. It's easier to get to be more organized and get more help. So that's what has helped these countries. And then also Uruguay has always been, they've always been a football country, since going way back. So that's the other thing. Mexico wasn't really into football. You go even going into like the 50s, wrestling was big, boxing was big, bullfighting.
Yeah.
In the north, baseball. In some parts of the north, baseball is still bigger than soccer. So soccer
Absolutely.
in Mexico didn't really become well, we could say like a national sport till like I
70s,
don't know.
60s.
No, by the 70s already. I say like around the whole Chivas thing is what the whole Campeonísimo. That's what helped. It helped it explode. It did just really quick because soccer was seen as a foreigner sport. And you go way back then, you had to speak English to read the rule books. So you kind of some of the people had money if you because you had to order soccer shoes. They all came from England. Like you didn't just go to the local corner store and buy a ball. You had to order a lot of this stuff. So it was people with money or linked to something with money. So it wasn't really seen as the average Joe sport
And a
up
lot
until that point. What happened?
and like Pachuca for example was like actually founded by like Englishmen, Cornish.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, so they could just bring all of that stuff with them.
Yeah.
They could just bring it with them. They brought the copies of the rule book,
Chivas was
leather
founded
balls, and
by
whatnot.
Belgians, right?
Mm, the owner of so there was a Belgian, Edgar Edvarert. I don't know how to say his name properly. He owned two factories. Uh, you know, two factories in Guadalajara, uh, and and there was French. I think they were students. I don't know if they were just. I don't know exactly what they were doing, and so they say that they're the ones that started the club, and then the Belgian guy just backed them. He backed them to do the team, and because that's why some people say that that's why the that's why the flag colors is the same as the French.
Right.
Although there's been conflicting stories, but that's one of the more popular ones.
And the
Um,
stripes were inspired by Bruges, the
yeah, because that was the owner's team
yeah.
or favorite, or I don't know if they even it just started back then. I don't know how long that team had been playing. Um, it's kind of hard, It's difficult to know what's true, what's myth, back then. But yeah, that so the sport was kind of seen as a foreigner sport, and you're going way back when it was before the Mexican Revolution. So it was during Porfirio Diaz regime, and he opened up the country for foreign investment. He was trying to industrialize Mexico. So that's how you had all these foreigners coming in and setting up shop, and hence Edgardo Everett, and Chivas, and then a lot of these foreigners left because Mexican Revolution soon after. People were like, "We're out of here," um, and so then it was. You could say the country was becoming more nationalistic, and so, but then you have Chivas winning, and it's like, oh, it's all Mexican team.
Right.
It's all Mexicans, so that kind of sort of made it like, well, okay, we could do this. We
Where
got this.
it's like how the Cowboys were deemed like America's team, and like same thing with Guadalajara. They-
Yeah, yeah, that like showed the popularity, and then of course you had Televisa who kind of saw like, this is because Chivas was the first team that popularity wise they transcended football in Mexico, where it's like they would do like they would do like novelas back then, like a comic book, like a
Oh,
picture comic book. You know what I mean?
interesting.
Like like photos. Like it'll be like a story with
Oh,
pictures.
oh, okay. Yeah, I know what
You
you're talking
know,
about.
so it was like, and they had like a romance, and they'll have a romance one with one of the Chiva players right there as the galan. Uh, they had Chivas in the radio. Back then they would have like, I think one of the guys participated, which was like radio novelas, because that was a thing back then.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so, and movies tied to the church, you could see pictures if you look for them. The bishop or whatever of Mexico right there with the Chiva team, and it's like, holy shit, this is pretty huge,
Yeah.
and so Televisa plays a big role too, because then they buy America, who was owned by Jarritos at one point. True story. So
What?
they buy, yeah, and that was the second owner. That wasn't even the first, Jarritos. But they buy the club, and then I, I think I would say they modernized the sport pretty soon, because then you have television, and then they bring the World Cup to Mexico, not once but twice. So they played a big role too in making the sport, and then the Clásico they pretty much made it happen. It's like, you see the meme with the stick, like a fight or whatever.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
kind of
Haz
event.
algo, haz algo.
But algo did happen, because Chivas' rival was with Atlas and the other Guadalajara teams, Oro, and I forgot the name of the third one. But that was the rivalry. America was, I don't know the teams exactly. I don't know if it was Marte, but it was more regional. It was more who you got to play more more often. They was live nearby. But I think we've gone far off.
Well, we can go
We went way far, man.
we can go full circle. I really don't want to talk too much about the Mexico Modelo game. They lost 3-0 to Uruguay.
Oh man.
Really nothing to say there except the fact that we're so lucky that the World Cup is all the way in December or November, so plenty of time between now and then for them to fire Tata, and because Tata ain't the guy, man. Tata ain't the guy, and
I saw the first half. I'm sorry to interrupt. I just don't
oh yeah, go ahead.
want us to stray off again. I saw the first half, and then I didn't get a chance to see much of the second. But did Flores play?
Marcel Flores?
Yeah.
I don't even think he was called up. I think he's playing
He
with.
wasn't like that. I've seen pictures. They kept posting pictures.
I
What's
think
that all about then?
I think there's another there's like a under something.
Oh, that's
Mexico.
what that's where they took him. I kept seeing these pictures with Linus and all this, and I was like, well, if you want to throw him in a game, it's these moleros, what else do you want? What about Linus? Is he with under 23 too, or what?
Lineth was not with the senior side either.
Damn. All right. Well, those are the only two dudes I wanted to see, to be honest.
Oh.
Because these games for me is more about like individual performance. I don't place too much in the whole collective as a team. Not for like a Molero.
Yeah.
And not one like this where it's like.
But here's the thing. This was originally supposed to be Argentina, where this was going to be a tune-up match for the World Cup.
Yeah.
Obviously, we got into the same group as Argentina, so they had to they had to cancel the friendly. Now we get Uruguay, which is a really good challenge, and I just feel like they were exposed with a back line of 3. Not sure what's going on there with
But see,
that.
that's when you want to try these things because you're not gonna do it in a match that counts. So then if you're gonna say, all right, I'm gonna risk it. I'm gonna see how they do under these circumstances.
Uh-huh.
So that's why a lot of times for results like this, like so if you're the coach and you want to try something, you want to risk something, this is the best time to do it.
I
And
agree.
so yeah, and it could end up looking bad, but at least you have a good understanding of like, all right, this dude could hang or this guy couldn't, or
It's
you
just
know, it just tells you a
concerning,
lot.
is all. It's concerning because you had a lot of people spend their hard-earned money to see this, and and it's just embarrassing. And I don't even think Uruguay was at full strength, so it's just. And here's the thing: it's like more or less this is gonna be the team that Tata takes to Qatar, because he's very pig-headed in that manner, and he's convinced that these are the best players at his disposal.
You know, but I wouldn't say concerning because the midweek Molero. The only reason it's because, dude, Mexican fans keep paying. If they stop going, you would get these games at a reasonable price.
Uh-huh.
I mean, you really can't
No, I know there's
blame.
supply and demand. I agree with that. But at the end of the day, man, it's just sad, I think it's sad.
Yeah, I mean, to
For
an
them to get
extent.
embarrassed like that, and just like the output, and just, it's just getting embarrassing, and I just don't see anything changing under Tata. I really don't. And I'm sure he's frustrated as well, because he's looking at this pool of talent, and you're just like, I just don't see anyone that's gonna like change the game. This is the best that we can muster up with, and it's gonna be a hard World Cup, man. I'm not really. This is the first time in a long time I'm actually like, I have no expectations for the team. I'm just going in there like, maybe we'll get out of the group. Who knows?
But haven't we seen this before, Jaime?
We have seen this before. I don't know what it is about this year. It's just I don't see. I think I'm really starting to see the team for what they're worth, and there's not much, man. There's not much going on there.
Because yeah, going into '98 World Cup, it was kind of similar situation where it was like people felt that the national team could do better than how it was doing under Bora Milutinovic, and they sack him right after the World Cup qualifier, and they give it to La Puente. And the majority of his results were bad, man. The team looked bad. The majority of the results, everything looked horrible, and it just looked like, what did they do, man? It was
Yeah.
like, and because to me, Bora's team had that '97 Copa America. That to me was like, that's at the bar. That showed me how his team could play. I think they finished 3rd place. They had a really good game against Brazil. I think it was a 3-2 defeat, but I mean, really great tournament overall. And now you had La Puente, and he's just eating it, man. And when the World Cup starts, they end up having a really good tournament. All of a sudden, these moleros didn't matter anymore. Nobody
Absolutely.
remembers them, dude. No one remembers them, Jaime. I do, though. I do. So rencoroso. So rencoroso, dude. But no one talks about them.
We have Ricardo in the chat signing in, of
Oh,
course. He says, Joel, please don't talk down on the greatest club in North America, El America. And
how did I talk down? I've yet to say anything negative.
He also says that the Uruguay winger owned Arteaga and Angulo. Nene Beltran looked like a midget next to those Uruguayans. And he says Cavani would look glorious in an America jersey. Hate to burst your bubble, Ricardo, but it's actually Cruz Azul who's being linked with Cavani. We'll see how that
I
goes.
know. Well, I heard Suarez being linked to America.
Yeah, Suarez would be the guy, and I can't think of
Jeez.
a more appropriate team than America because that guy's got issues and America's got issues, and I think they belong to each other. But let's talk about the big topic. Let's talk about Atlas in the final, getting it done, winning their second title in a row after what was a 70-year drought. They come back with back-to-back titles, something that has only been accomplished by two other teams, Pumas and León. They got it done. What are your thoughts on that, Joel?
I was expecting it.
Oh,
No, I mean Atlas should do good. I don't know if you remember when I said that Atlas would win a second championship before Chivas, after they had already won theirs. But yeah, with Orlegi and whatnot, I expected them to do good. Did not expect them to do this good. It was like in 2 years or less than 2 years since they took over and back to back, and there's talk of a three-peat now. And I guess if they get the right refuerzos, yeah, it could.
that would be
Who knows, man?
insane.
Coca's proven to be a really good coach. So, I mean, I just think the only downside has been the whole controversy with the president of Atlas, I believe, the Bean Brothers, with the coach, with the ref, with the Jeez, I'm at a loss for word. Jaime, help me here.
I believe he was
Related.
head of the referee committee. Yeah.
There you go. That just
A little
just
sus.
stuff like that. Yeah, stuff like that. It kind of shows the professionalism of the league when you have things like that happening.
And this happens all the time. I know when Chivas won theirs, they said it was thanks to Santander. So it's like, there's always going to be that talk, and kind of like you mentioned earlier, like no one really thinks about that over the long term. They're just going to remember the titles and the stars on the badge. They're not going to remember how they got there. But at the end of the day, Atlas they were one of the most consistent teams in the league, and kudos to them, kudos to the city of Guadalajara. And honestly, it's kind of hard to watch this from the sidelines. Guadalajara, they just haven't been competing for anything as of late, and it's hard to see your neighbors just succeed like that. It's annoying, it's frustrating.
And they eliminated Chivas to boot.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, but I mean, it just kind of shows where the league is. And we were talking about the same thing the other day, where it's like you're gonna see this reflected in the national team because there's less players with so many foreigners. With the league having so many foreigners, there's less players, and that's a big, with the selección that we're seeing, there's not much to choose from.
Right, exactly. And I believe on top of that back-to-back trophy, they also won the Copa de Campeones. So they ended up.
Did they have to play for it?
No, they didn't. Since they won both.
All right, and then, well, the other cup got eliminated when you played the cup champion.
Yeah.
So that was like the Super Cup. They would have probably won that too. I think, I do think that's gonna be their next thing, is to go make it to that Clubs World Cup to win a CONCACAF title.
Let's not get too ahead of ourselves.
I think league winning Liga MX is more difficult than winning CONCACAF.
I don't know, man. I think that a lot can happen between now and then. Um, that because that tournament will start like what, like next year. So it's a long time from now.
Yeah,
Um,
but I mean these that's why they prepare for stuff like this. They've shown to like these organizations like it's like why they show why Grupo Leg and them why they do so good. They're always preparing for this. I mean, what I was hearing is they already invested money or to upgrade their youth facilities.
really,
Yeah, so I mean, these dudes aren't resting, man, just because they won. And I do think that's and especially going by the ambition of the owner, right?
uh huh,
Who's talked about wanting a team in Europe. And what better window than Clubs World Cup?
absolutely. Do it at the biggest stage.
Yeah, if he could replicate what Tigres did, you know,
Yeah, that would be huge. Although,
get to the final and put a really good fight,
yeah,
maybe even win it. It's winnable. It's a one-off.
right. Yeah, no, absolutely, man. Um, there's a lot going on for Atlas right now, and again, happy for them. Um, it's nice to see some consistency in the league, and we'll see what happens next season. As far as like some off-season transfers, Pumas have basically gotten rid of everybody. Talavera, he's a free agent. You have Aran Mozo, who was unveiled as Chivas's first refuerzo, and going the other way is the Mexican Mo Salah, aka Chino Huerta. So he's going to Pumas. And I wish Chiquis was on the show
You know what?
because
Watch him do good, man.
I wish Chiquis was on the show because I could ask him, what are they gonna do with the $4 million that they got from Chivas for Alan Moso? I wonder what kind of third division Brazilian players they can get with that kind of spend.
That's their whole transfer budget right there, man. They'll get them on the cheap. But whoever's doing their buying there, they deserve a medal, man. They just got in some bargain buys.
We have a listener that wants to hop on
Yes.
again. Those are on our Twitter space. Thank you guys so much for hopping on. And if you want to speak, just hit the little request button and we'll add you on.
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm here on site on El Fracaso del Tata right now. I just want to give this drive-by here that fuera Tata. Get him the hell out of here. And you guys have a good night.
Oh, you're in
Thank
Arizona.
you. How much did you pay, man? How much?
He just
How
dropped
much
off.
you pay for that match?
He just dropped off.
I used to go for games because I grew up in South LA, so pretty much Mexico play almost the majority of their moleros at the Los Angeles Coliseum, the Azteca del Norte, and it was $25 first come first serve.
Damn.
That's what I grew up in.
That actually sounds like a lot for what, like the 90s or what?
Yeah, mid 90s. I don't think it was. No, that's about right. As far as like
Yeah, maybe you're right.
event ticketing for events.
Because I know $20 in 1990 or in the 90s was worth a lot more than it is now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean, you were going to a sporting event. You were paying. Well, depending the seats, right? Because
Yeah.
I think you go to Dodger games for like $8 or something.
Right.
But still, depending the seat. But this was first come first serve, so a lot of people would show up really early to get the seats that they wanted. But I mean, it was still very affordable, and it's not like they played every so often. The other prices were also cheaper. Now it's just the parking, right? It's like $50, sometimes more, just to park the car.
Oh yeah,
Um, so, but yeah, no. Once they started doing like these like special seating like packages, like
VIP and yeah,
yeah, they do all that, and then they put you on the field. Now I don't know if you noticed in some games
yeah. They
they
got
have like a tent at field level.
the fan
Um,
experience.
the fan, yeah, man. So and tickets going for like $500 or whatnot, and it's insane.
You got the
I'm just
Perns of
saying
the
for
world, paying for that,
but
man.
well, I must say, just because you paid for that doesn't mean that's what you're getting. It's at the end of the day, it's a molero. It's not,
Yeah.
you know, it's not like a World Cup match, all right. So I think,
How
but
much do you
I
gotta
don't know.
pay to hang out with the wives and girlfriends of the players? Because yeah, I would pay for
Some
that.
people want that though, but I mean, I, I'm saying once Mexican fans started giving in to like the price hikes, and I remember how they went up to 50. So like they doubled almost overnight.
Hmm.
Uh, it was like $50 now, and then they started the obvious thing, breaking down the stadium by seating sections, and then after that doing like VIP sections and whatnot. And I felt that the fans just kept going with it. Almost like it became some type of status thing, like, oh, I got the VIP, or something. I don't know, but I would just not pay that much for a Molero.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. It's been the prices are crazy, and you have Pern, basically the proof that there are people willing to buy that. Oh man, that's so funny.
Or you could get one of the. Sometimes you could get tickets. You call in the radio, caller 10, you answer the question, you get a pair of tickets.
Yeah, absolutely. Uh, as far as
Oh, and I'm at this other thing, Jaime, just really quick.
yeah,
So back then, when I went, um, the games weren't televised.
oh
I mean, they were televised, but like you couldn't see them if you were, they wouldn't show them if you're in the, like if the game's in LA, you're in LA, you're not gonna see it.
it's like blacklisted or whatever, blackout.
Yeah, you could just hear it like on the radio, and so that was the other attraction of being at the match. Um, Now it doesn't matter, and that's why I think it became surprising to me that people would still pay, even though you could just see it from home.
Yeah, yeah. The times have changed. Mexico's they're a big business team now. As
Yeah, I think they were for a while. They just kind of didn't know it.
and as far as other off-season transfers, there's also a player going to Chivas that I forgot his name, but he kind of coming out of the woodworks. I think he was loaned out to Necaxa. Now he's back at Chivas. As far as that goes, though, I don't really see any other movements. I would love to see another goalkeeper because we don't have Gudiño. He is also a free agent, free to leave. So we don't really have. I mean, Wacho is okay, but I don't. I think that if you're Pelas, you're gonna have to go after somebody experienced in the back. And there's also a rumor that I heard where Chivas are after Henry Martin and America wants to get JJ Mack in return. And I'm like, if you allow that to happen, Like, how would you allow that to happen? Why would you allow
No,
that to happen?
they're not letting go of that guy.
For sure. Well, we're on Twitter Spaces, guys. So if you guys want to hop on, say something, let us know. Ricardo's on the chat. Yeah, he's saying Atlas pulled the triple whammy. They eliminated Chivas, won the Campeón de Campeones, and won the bicampeonato. Yeah.
Okay, he's rubbing it in.
And, unfortunately, we weren't able to see that America Atlas final the way I wanted to see it. But they definitely got, I guess, in that aspect, lucky.
Yes, sir.
As far as Mexico goes, I believe the Nations League is coming up. And that will kick off on Saturday, June 11th.
Didn't it already start for Central American teams? Or is that a different one?
If I'm not mistaken, it might have already began.
Yeah, because I saw.
I was
Guatemala
watching
lost.
Panama.
Oh, there you go.
They were beating Costa Rica. They actually won today 2-0. Oh, and how did I miss this? Guatemala lost.
Yes, to French Guiana.
Who the fuck is that? Who the hell's that?
Small island. You know, some of these small islands, I don't know, you had Suriname, which I think they're in South America. For some reason, they play in North America, but they were like a colony of Holland or something of the sorts. Dude, they would have some sick players, and some really good players came out of there that ended up in going to the Netherlands. So I don't know what the deal is right now with French Guiana, if they're linked to France, and if they have some, if they send some people over or whatnot. I wouldn't be surprised.
I wonder if Aubameyang played for them, or maybe I'm mixing him up.
Yeah, it's just because they're really small countries, and no money. So a lot of times they end up, their players won't stick around. You know, that's
Yeah.
the career and whatnot.
I'm trying to find him. He is Gabon. Pierre Aubameyang.
Where did he?
He played
Where
for Arsenal for a bit and Dortmund. I just remember he was like from a small country.
Yeah.
So what's up with your boy Tena, man? I mean, you were praising him for taking the job
Still am.
in
I still
Guatemala.
am. I still am. You don't finish a what's it called, a proceso just because one bad result. Let's see if they qualify. I do think if they fail to qualify, that would be a fracaso. So yeah, this is disheartening. They look good against Max. I mean, but I guess it's easy to be motivated for that one. Who knows what happened, man? I don't know what the plane ride is. I mean, was the game over there or where? I don't know where the game was.
Guatemala.
But I mean, they had to sleep in the at the airport.
I think it was on the road.
They had to go on a boat or something. Yeah, it's all these other things that sometimes some factors that we don't take into account. But
So
I know,
they're in Group D with Dominican Republic, French Guiana, Belize, and Guatemala. So this is the first match, but obviously you have to get out of this group, man.
yeah, they do. Who knows what happened? Would have liked to bring in a Chapin to explain it, give some insider info. We used to have we used to know a person in El Salvador back when De Los Cobos was the coach,
Oh, okay.
and he would come on to give us updates on what was going on.
Ricardo says Tena is a bum.
He has a gold medal though, man.
he'll
Olympic
always
gold, dude.
he'll always have that.
Yeah, I can't take that away.
You can't take that away.
And that's one of the Mexican national team's big achievements. When you put what makes El Tri, when you see why fans get upset over a defeat against Uruguay or not being able to do better than to reach or not being able to reach a quinto partido or whatnot, when they start setting high expectations, that's one of the reasons why, man. Because Tena showed that it can be done. It's crazy how quick a lot of people turn on him. All of a sudden he sucks. It's like nobody wants to touch him.
Oh man, I have made the conclusion that the fans have a goldfish memory. But it's been coming for a long time as far as Mexico and them just not really convincing me. Tata's still continuing to call the same usual suspects despite I think the biggest criticism he's getting is the fact that you look at this team, right, Atlas, that won the back-to-back titles, and he really hasn't called anyone up from that winning championship team, and it doesn't make sense, right? I feel like
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
calling
that is
you're calling up Gallardo when you have Reyes, who's been one of the most consistent fullbacks in the league. I think he merits a call up, and maybe Jeremy Marquez. I think he's still a little green. I think there's still a few players ahead of him, but still, like, you do have some Mexicans on Atlas that deserve a shot, and Pachuca too. I think Pachuca has shown that they have some really good talent. So,
that guy. Jesus, I'm forgetting his name. The guy who was gonna come to Chivas,
which one?
the one that ended up having the drug problem,
Oh yeah, Pocho Guzman. Yeah,
and he said, he's been kind of calling him out, calling out Tata.
he did. He said he's gonna. He's been busting his balls, just trying to get. To basically prove a point. Like, hey, like, how can you not call me up? But I think there's a few players that have been blacklisted from the national team. He's one of them because of the doping scandal. And Alan Mozo, for having a little berrinche for, when he found out he wasn't going to go to Japan, even though he was part of the Olympic process. And of course, it's always up to Guadalajara to put these players back in good graces with the national team. We saw it happen with Alan Pulido. Alan Pulido was basically just not allowed to even go back to Mexico after what he did to Tigres. But
well, yeah, the way he left.
The way he left, yeah.
Yeah, he left. He said he had his contract wasn't that he was not under contract, and Tigres was arguing that. I believe one of the arguments was if you're going to the World Cup and you're with a club, I think that they make sure you're signed. They don't just let you go if your contract's about to expire, because then um, I'm not saying let you go, like give you permission. I mean, like the club will do what it can to sign an extension in case you do good in the tournament,
Right.
and they could come up. And that was one of their arguments. But yeah, the way he left, and then it's that's why that dude needs to be sending. You get a gift basket every year. Because he took that gamble. He had to pay Olympiacos 10 million for a player they just had like on the bench for 14 games in 2 years.
Right.
They bounced him around. They had, I think, they sent him to a second division team, and then they paid Tigres like another 7 million or whatnot. That's a lot of money to gamble on a player with so little game in 2 years, and it paid off. So yeah, he owes a lot to Higuera. I know a lot of us hate that guy, but he took that big risk and it paid off.
Yeah, it really did. But again, Guadalajara always being the team that puts these players back in good graces. And, I hope Alan Moso, we get the best version of him. I do got to criticize Velaz, though, because, he praises, and really wants the team to be like committed and, not have disciplinary issues. And then he goes in and he signs players that were known party boys or just known for like having locker room problems, right? Then they did the
Yeah,
Limpia. They got rid of all those guys. And then now he signs Moso, who again is a locker room problem. So it's like, what's going on here? Why do you
well, I
keep
mean,
making the same mistakes?
there's nothing to choose from. But I do think having done the Olympia, it kind of shows like, we will boot you out.
Yeah.
And I do think if they sign some type of contract, they could have the type of contract where if you breach it because you showed up drunk or whatnot, that they could probably terminate it and they don't have to pay you the what's left of it.
We have, looks like Ricardo's going to hop on. Hello, Ricardo. Welcome to the show, man. I think you're on mute. Hello.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
How's it going, gentlemen?
We going, man. We doing good.
I never thought I'd see the day where Atlas would be the biggest team in Guadalajara.
Oh, you're funny, man.
Bicampeonato, triple whammy, got rid of Chivas, and they won. Well, they didn't even have to play another team, and they won the Campeón de Campeones. I mean, this is legendary stuff.
Well, what happened to your America, man? They couldn't get the job done against Pachuca.
Yeah, well, I know there's a narrative that America gets help, but that's just propaganda from the other equipos chicos, including Chivas, that try to bring down the giant on top.
Uh-huh. I don't know, man.
Did you guys mention the shit show that was the game against Uruguay?
We talked a little bit about it. I'll be honest, I kind of tuned out. I was watching the Warriors play, who also messed it up. But we did
my Celtics one, I noticed.
We did have Pern, who was at the game over there in Arizona, and he says he wants Tata out. And that's something that we've been saying for quite some time now. But I'd love to hear your takes on that game.
I mean, I hate to keep beating on a dead horse, but these players, they play with such little physicality that I don't even know that winger's name for Uruguay, number 8. It looks like a school kid. he was running past Arteaga and Angulo. Like it was really embarrassing. And I don't want to sound like a geneticist or like a or racist of some kind, but I think just the Mexican player in general is slow as crap, man. They're really slow. And the reaction time compared to any other, like you can go back in history, look up old games in the World Cup, Copa America. Like these guys are so slow at reacting. I don't know. It was just like a genetic thing that we're just a slow people. But man, these guys are all notice and Cavani, man, the engine on that guy. Just notice when he's like around the 70th minute mark, man, that guy has an engine on him. He won't. Uh he's running towards both sides of the field, defending, attacking, passing. Man, it's crazy to me how I just don't see how these Mexican players.
And he's 35.
Exactly my point. I would love to see him in America, but like you said, he's probably still going to be. He's either going to go to Cruz Azul or he's going to go to. He's probably going to stay in Europe most likely. I mean, he's a hell of a player.
Yeah.
But I don't see how these Mexican players. I think another big problem that people just gloss over is that these guys don't have any competition outside of Liga MX.
Yeah.
We had Copa America, and I think a lot of people were like crap on them. But man, and I know the Mex Fed wasn't making any money off of it, but man, that was like another like tournament that they could like test themselves and like bring themselves back down to reality and notice, man, like these other players, like they're hungry, they're more talented. Like we got to get our crap together, you know. And I don't see how playing in Liga MX and CONCACAF is gonna help them out, man. Like it was glaringly obvious today. I know it's just a friendly, but man, the level showed.
Yeah, no, I've been noticing that for a while, that just the build-up play, the thought process, like everything that Mexico does is just like when you go on a YouTube video and you want to slow it down, the playback, like maybe 0.5. It's just slow. It's just very slow and very reactive, not proactive. And yeah, like you mentioned, it takes a good team to expose like a mediocre team, and we saw that today. And they're not even at full speed. That's the scary part, you know. I think that's the part that pisses me off the most.
Honestly, they didn't even look like they were trying that much.
I know, they really weren't.
It was embarrassing. Like there's another way to put it. It was embarrassing.
Yeah, and again, at the end of the day, the ones that end up losing are the fans. You know, the ones that went in there and paid their money, and you know, they went to go see this game and they got all excited. Maybe they're gonna see Marcel Flores, maybe they're gonna see Lainez, maybe they're gonna see Johan Vasquez, and Tata's like, yeah, no.
They get to see these players with such little ambition, like Hector Herrera. He's coming to my shitty Houston Dynamo. Gallardo, he's the biggest drunk in the world. Got Amore. I know Araujo's in Spain, but man, that guy is so slow. He's on slow motion, like you mentioned. That I don't get how that thing. It's probably the agent, man. But I've seen pub games faster than like pub league players faster than this guy. It's horrible. It goes back to my point, man. These guys aren't going to get in shape staying in Mexico or playing in the MLS. Like these guys aren't taking care of themselves like they need to be in Europe.
Yeah,
but that's a whole can of worms that's already been opened.
Yeah, and you know, I don't really feel like this is the first time in a long time. Like, yeah, this World Cup's gonna be whack as shit for Mexico. Like,
I don't see it. Honestly, from what I've seen, I don't see us getting past that group stage. I know people like diminish Poland, and honestly, I don't know much about Poland either. But I just think their European players' physicality in general will always trouble us. Always.
Well, Lewandowski's a problem.
Oh yeah, you can tell he's up there in age, and he's gonna want to do something because so far he hasn't really done nothing in World Cups.
And here's another thing: he has so much to play for because he, as of right now, doesn't have a team. He announced that he's leaving Bayern Munich, so I think he's gonna go into the World Cup with a lot of ambition. Like, hey, like,
Yeah, of course, I can see that. Yeah.
yeah. So we'll see what happens. Mexico always has a tendency to step up to teams and step down to teams. This happens every 4 years, and we
hmm
always miraculously get out of the group stage. But this is the first time in a long time I'm looking at like with what and how.
Yeah.
Like that's the problem. Like I don't see anyone that can really like be the X factor anymore.
Yeah.
Everyone's counting their cash, man. Their billetes. They're all happy. They're getting paid.
Yeah. And I know he's your guy, I mean, but I don't think he's a solution either.
Oh,
Your boy Chicharo.
yeah, and we shouldn't even be looking at him as like the guy, right? We
hmm
shouldn't have to rely on him to like, score goals, but it's literally where we're at right now.
Like the
Like
the,
this is where we're at right now, where we're literally looking
hmm
at like him as an option. That's how bad things are.
the Tudene guys even mentioned that, and like it was crazy that like how they even mentioned how like the Uruguay defense, like they had Olaf like in a little island by himself, and I was like, man, they really do have him out, like he's by himself, like they neutralize him, like he's out of there, like
Yeah.
there was a point at like I don't see anyone coming in. Like you said, this is what we got.
This is it, man. This is the basically the bulk of the team that's going to Qatar unless something
hmm
happens between now and then. And I don't know, if Tata's on a leash at all. I think at this point it's quite obvious that he is going to be the guy taking us to the World Cup.
Yeah.
But I also know that they can't be like deaf to what the fans are saying and how they're reacting. But maybe they're too busy counting the money that they're like, huh?
That's so money, man. They saw those people show up today in Glendale, and they're like, "What are you talking about? We're
Yeah.
getting paid, right?" Man, dark times ahead indeed.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's like,
And I heard you mentioned your muscle. You got a little excited there.
I wouldn't say excited. I think he's a big upgrade over what we've been trying to do with Conejo Brizuela. I think, the experiment is just not working out, and it's time.
Big upgrade?
Huh?
Would you say it's a big upgrade or
I would say
a
so. I
player?
mean, because our fullbacks has been Ponce and Chapito and
Mhm.
Conejo and sometimes Cisneros, but it's like it's time we have someone that's like under the age of 30.
No, for sure. Yeah, he has youth on the side, definitely. But
Yeah,
man, I've seen this guy play a lot. He's like every Mexican player in general. Man, he's so inconsistent on defense, especially.
yeah, no, for
But
sure.
when he shines. I'll give you that. Like he'll look like Barcelona's gonna call him up, and he's gonna be the replacement for that Brazilian guy. But when he doesn't, like he looks very sloppy, and he gets lost out there.
And we have a tendency to sort of ruin players when they come to Chivas. I mean, how many times have we seen a player that like
Mhm.
they look good and then they come to Chivas and then just like, oh, the stage is too bright, the jersey's too heavy, and
Mhm.
maybe the culture as well is a little bit too, because I remember Macias when he went to Leon, he says like the culture outside of Chivas is amazing, like because it's only Mexicans in Chivas, like they all have like some sort of like jealousy or like
Mhm.
kind of like cutthroat mentality. So I mean, it'll be interesting to see how the players react to him. Also, I know that he has good relationships with some of the players that were part of the Preolímpico process. So he will have some friends there, but we'll see what happens. I'm just honestly the best part about all this is the fact that we got rid of Chino.
Oh, the Mexican Salah.
Exactly. Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if he shines at Pumas, though. To be honest.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
know that sounds crazy, but I think you're right.
he doesn't have any reflectors and out there and over there, and I think Lilino brought him. Like the way I view it, I don't think it's that much of a difference. And well, yeah, I mean, Chino did shit the bed all the time, but you guys definitely won in that trade. But I don't know. I have a feeling he's gonna do good at Pumas.
I think it's a win-win situation. I think it's a mutual benefit there. It's good for him, and it's good for us, and it's good for Pumas.
But having said that, I think if they were gonna get someone, they should have gone for Kevin Alvarez for Pachuca.
I doubt Chivas have the money to get him.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're broke. But if they really wanted to make an impact, they would have got him. That kid does it all.
He's a great player, and we'll see what his future lies. You know, because Pachuca does have a good track record of exporting players. Unfortunately, though, there are some big spenders over there in Monterrey. So I know Tigres or Rayados are gonna be going after that.
Yeah, Piojo likes him.
Al Pastor wants to hop on. Al Pastor connecting, but welcome to the show. What you got for us, man? I think you're on mute right now.
Oh, sorry, I was reading something. No, I was just well, first of all, thank you for having me on the space. But no, I was just having to say, as far as the going back to the selección thing, with you mentioned like there's no like X factor on the team. Then with Ricardo mentioning like Chicha might not even be that big of a difference maker, even if they call him up. So with those arguments being made, could you also say, is there a reason to even get rid of Tata? Like even if you brought someone else in, could you get that much of a difference on the on-field results? Like it seems like for what the roster that's available, it seems like you're not gonna get any much better.
Fair enough. That's a fair argument there. What I will say is, I would guarantee you that certain players wouldn't get called up anymore. The Pizarros of the world, the Gallardos, the Hector Morenos. I feel like they would be absolutely like whoever was to take over the helm would not call those players anymore. So I do think that there would be, even if they end up keeping some of the players, I think the energy would be a little bit different.
Let's be honest. The Talavera shouldn't have been there. He looked his age.
Oh yeah.
He looked very slow. I don't care what anyone says. That second goal where the first goal where the center back scored it, that was all him. I mean, he ate that goal. That
Facts.
First one.
Yep, he did.
I think these agents have too much say in the selección, and a lot of these guys are past their expiration date, man. Even Pizarro, I mean, what's the point of calling that guy up?
Yeah, he's trash.
Yeah, but I mean, with Talavera, he was like considered one of the top keeps in Liga MX. So it goes back to the saying that's like, all right, you have Ochoa. Ochoa's playing at his level. Let's say Ochoa gets hurt. What else is there? Who else
Acevedo.
is he gonna call?
I would call Acevedo, even though he is green.
Well, that's the thing. He's green. Like the idea is that he wants experience and someone he's comfortable going into the World Cup with as a backup choice. And based on what's available in Liga MX, your options are Acevedo, Talavera, and I guess Cota. And those last two are on the older side.
Yeah.
I would take a chance on one of these green guys, because we can go back to that what was the Olympics after London, where Talavera went. Man, that guy's been shitting the bed this whole time. That Leo against that Leon final, he ate like a bunch of those goals. I think it's a myth that this guy is a top guy. Like I've never seen this guy perform like that.
I don't know, man. I think a lot of the times, and we're seeing it with Tata, is like he's going for players with experience, and the goalkeeping position does weigh a factor in there for sure. At the same time, though, I do agree. Like he should not be getting called up, and there should be guys making it obvious that they should be making their case. And that's another thing too. Is like it's not his fault that he's getting called up. It's the other players that are not showing enough ambition. Because if you're out there busting your balls and like doing everything you can in your power to like show that you are ready for the call up, then Tata wouldn't even be in the conversation. But I feel like a lot of these players are just mediocre. They're just settling for being like a club player, getting good money, and really not really thinking much of that, like of their careers. They're not taking their profession seriously. Um, that's how I feel about it, honestly. But I think Acevedo does deserve a chance. He's been looking good the times that he has been called up. I think he's got the market building aspect of it down too, because unfortunately that's a big factor into the national team. It's not just that you play good, but you do have to have like fans have to like you, and I think the way he's been doing it so far has been good, and I could see him taking over Ochoa's spot, but I don't know what Tata's looking at right now. I really don't.
And I now that you mentioned that, I mean, that other guy from Tigres, the one that played for Atlas, what's his name? The one that got ran over, Angulo. Like he shouldn't have been there either.
Yeah,
Like
no.
he looked lost, man. He looked, and like I mentioned earlier, I mean that winger for Uruguay, that number 8, man, he just toyed with them. But you see, who was it, him or Arteaga, the one that fell over?
I'm not sure. Again, I kind of tuned out.
Man, like it was embarrassing.
Yeah, but I mean, Angulo had been good. Like, he got Mekis, and that's why he made that move to Tigres, and he was doing well there. I mean, if anything, that's the benefit of these games where it showed you that he got smoked, and then you're going up against Argentina and Poland. So it gives you, as a coach, like second doubts. So it's like, can I really trust this guy? Maybe not. Let me see what else I can do. So I mean, it's not necessarily bad that he got exposed. That's the whole purpose of these games, to see who might not be able to fill that role.
Yeah, it showed the level. That's what it did.
Correct.
We have Kashima Fan. Not sure what your question means, but he said, "Why isn't a designated priority backup?" I don't know if that's a complete sentence, but try to rephrase that, Kashima Fan. Appreciate you hopping on YouTube chats. Pastor, how do you feel about Chivas getting Mozo?
You know what? When Mosso, it's the same thing like as Pumas, really great. Well, can be really great on the offense, but at the same time, who was on the other end of those crosses with the Neno? Is he really going to have that at Chivas? And two, on far as defense, he gets exposed a lot. So even if, I mean, if he were to play today, like versus Uruguay, like if he would have gotten called up, he would have been like may look bad as well. I mean, I hope that maybe for his own sake, in a couple of years, he can turn into that player he thinks he is. But like, he's literally making a big marketing campaign for him to be in the World Cup, where like defensive wise, he has nothing to do at that big stage. I mean, when you talk about a World Cup, you're talking about the best players for their national team. And yeah, he's shining at Pumas with getting some crosses in, but that's about it. I mean, at the end of the day, he is a left back. He's not a left wing. He has to be able to defend as well. But for Chivas, is good. I mean, for Chivas, you fill a role that you were experimenting with other players, so you kind of get someone who's just gonna focus on that role. He's a player that you can market as well, and they'll keep the fans in the hush hush for a while, keep them a little bit content.
Yeah, because they're desperate for something. They want to see something. It's like we want to see an effort. We want to see Pelaz take his job seriously, because right now he's underperformed. He's over promised and under delivered.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. America made him.
America made him.
Yeah, not the other way around. America made him and Piojo. Notice how they struggle. I mean,
Yeah,
Piojo,
I
he
can agree with
disappeared.
that.
He went to TJ. He didn't do anything at TJ. He came back to America. They armed the. I think back to that midfield that America had when he came back that second time. They had Machin. They had that Guido piece, that Guido Rodriguez, the one in Betis, that Colombian Uribe. I mean, how like that's a crazy midfield. Of course, he was going to win something. Then he goes Tigres and he shouldn't have bet again. Like I said, America makes everyone big, man.
Yeah, I mean,
That's why I said. That's why I said Cavani. He's a perfect fit for America. He's scoring goals all over Cruz Azul, Chivas. He'd be the idolo instantly.
No, a perfect player for America would be Suarez with his dirty ass.
yeah, that's what
Oh,
I
you
was
mean
saying.
the winning mentality? You're right. I agree.
I don't know about winning mentality.
To help us win that 14, man. You're right. I agree.
I do believe that if Suarez was to come to Liga MX, I think that's the team he needs to go to. It's just
I can see
like
him at Cruz Azul.
Cruz Azul.
Yeah, I can see either him or Cavani at Cruz Azul.
True.
They're known for making some big
Some signings.
transfers too. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can
No,
see
yeah,
that.
I could see that. Yeah, I could definitely see that. Well, Joel has left the chat. Looks like he's avoided talking about Peláez's mediocre run at Guadalajara.
Man, he always defends everything, man. He defends Pelais, that bum Tena, total bum. I know he won the gold medal, man. That's a youth tournament. We're talking big boy stuff. And
Yeah,
he's in love with Wuse. I mean,
yeah, he's been nowhere to be found when today against Guatemala lost in the Nations
he,
League.
he was really hyping up Tena for that, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I do expect Guatemala to get out of the group, but if they don't, I mean, that's a problem. You know,
Chapinis are good at football, man.
are they? I don't know.
Nah, nah, they suck.
Their best player was Pescadito Ruiz, I think.
No, notice every time you're on Twitter or you meet like a Chapin, they're always a USA fan.
Oh, that's true.
And whenever Guatemala's playing, they put their Guatemala jersey on. I don't know what you call that.
They're USA, Madrid, or Barcelona fans.
Oh yeah, they love European football,
Yeah,
but they don't have anyone over there.
Madrid, man, can't believe they won.
Hey, I'm all about Madrid and all that. Man, they parked that bus. I don't care what anyone said. I'm happy they won, but they parked that bus.
No, I have to disagree with that. I mean, parking the bus would be like Atletico Madrid versus Manchester City. Madrid was trying to play, but they just couldn't because Liverpool was so overwhelming. But it's not like Madrid like literally threw the bus back there and said, "Let's just play a counter." They were trying to develop their game. They just couldn't because they were overwhelmed by the amount of pressing and talent that Liverpool has. But at the end of the day, Guardiola has a style. You know how his teams are going to play. Klopp has a style. You know how his teams are going to play. But Ancelotti kind of adapts to the game and to the opponent, and it worked out for him. There were games where against PSG, Chelsea, City, they scored a lot of goals. And there was a game. This was a game like Tony Cruz said. It's just a matter of winning the final. I could care less how we play, and they did it.
Facts, dude.
They don't get me wrong. I'm happy they won. But they got the Americanista mindset, man. They're always about to win. You know what I mean? Doesn't matter how it happens. They just want to get it done.
Yeah, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Like, look at Guardiola. He'll dominate the fuck out of you, 80% possession, 30 shots on goal, but then he loses in the last 2 minutes of the game.
Mhm.
So
Kashima fan looks like he has something to say. Courtois, safe pair of hands. Stop Salah due to subpar pay, if you ask me. What? Oh,
sir,
stopped Salah.
man, Salah, man, that boy, he went from being popular to looking like a clown. He was dying to have Madrid. He said like, it scored a settle, revenge on play Madrid. Doesn't do shit, and now comes out and says, "I will trade my awards to play the final one more time." You had two chances against Madrid. How many more do you want?
You know what I think it is too. I think Madrid has that Mike Tyson factor. Let me explain. I remember back in the day when in his prime, Mike Tyson, they would say like he would before he go to the ring, like the opponent was already defeated because he was so scared. I think Madrid has that. I mean,
You think so?
like you mentioned, Liverpool. I mean, I know I said they parked the bus, but man, like after that first goal scored from I mean, that's the only goal. I mean, Vinicius scored. I mean, they looked out of place.
Yeah.
They looked like they looked scared.
Which
They
is
didn't want to get scored
yeah.
on again.
It's weird because like Liverpool, out of all the English teams, have the most Champions League titles, and you'd feel like they would know how to handle themselves. But yeah, I feel like they fell into the same traps, and at the end of the day,
Mm-hmm.
the bulk of Madrid's team had been together for a long time, and then you have Ancelotti, who's just a beast, and
Mm-hmm.
kudos to them, man. I think they deserve the title, especially after they had a really tough draw, like all the way through to the final. Like they didn't have any easy
Mm-hmm.
games.
Oh yeah, they went through the gauntlet.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
Salah played like Hector Cuenta.
Maybe we're in an alternative universe where
Mm-hmm.
Chino will start playing like Salah over there in Pumas.
I don't know about all that.
Yeah, Liini, man, he's a good coach.
yeah.
Oh yes.
He's a coach that can get that nitty gritty out of a player and focus them to get on that. So I think that would be perfect for Huerta. They're not having him come in expecting to be a baller. They're expecting him to put his head down, get to work, be part of the team, and grind out those wins.
Yeah,
And in a team like that, he could be a perfect role player.
yeah. We saw some good moments of him at Mazatlan when he was on loan. So I mean, I know he's still young too. And for some reason in FIFA, he turns out to be a really good player. I don't know why. Yeah, I play Kurt.
I was listening to some reporters. They were talking about when he was in Mazatlan that when they were trying to buy him off Chivas, and supposedly they offered like 8 mil, and Chivas
No,
turned it down.
I don't believe that. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
that's what they were saying. That his release clause was 10 mil, and they only offered 8, and that's why they didn't sell him.
Wow.
I mean, he showed a lot of promise when he was with Mazatlan. They figured if they brought him back, he'd ball out. So I can
Not
understand
not
that.
not 10 mil worth of promise.
Yeah, but I guess Chivas was trying to do one of those. You sell me expensive Mexican players, I'll sell them expensive back to you.
That backfired.
That's crazy.
If they would have got that cash, they probably could have got Mosso and Kevin Alvarez.
Yeah.
No, I think Kevin easily goes for 10, especially with Chivas.
Oh, especially right now he definitely does. Yeah.
That Chivas tax is real.
Mm-hmm.
Well, folks, we are at the hour mark. Don't really have any closing thoughts on my end, but you guys have anything you want to get off your chest? Anything football related? It's fine.
America got a new sporting director. I mean, hopefully this is the same guy that brought in El Bam Bam and El Piojo. El Herrera,
Oh, okay.
back in the day. It's the same guy. Hopefully he pulls off some magic and brings some of these guys because America needs to be where it belongs, but on top.
Yeah. I mean, I know with what's his name? They Solari, they look good in regular season, and then they get, in the quarterfinals get eliminated back to back, and then you guys got all the way to a semi. So I mean, you guys are still relevant, but I know you guys are pushing for silverware. And did you guys end up keeping the coach?
El Tanazo? Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, but you mentioned Solari, like used like once he got sacked, like all these reporters came out of nowhere saying that que le tendieron la cama, and they're pretty much mentioning that like all the foreign players have the same agent, so that kind of makes sense now.
Oh. I mean, it is
Like,
kind of weird that like as soon as he's gone, the team just complete heel turn 180. Like, what the hell?
yeah,
Yeah, I keep saying it. If you watch that America Pachuca game from like early on in the season, you could literally tell the America players threw that game away. Like it was
Oh, yeah.
embarrassing. Like just embarrassing. Like I mean, like you would think that would get investigated like for corruption or something on the players then, because literally they didn't even want to put their hands into that game. Like literally not even like going in for those balls how you expect a professional player to go into it. And then with America's fault, it was their fault bringing in Solari. I mean, Solari did his job as a European coach. He was trying to finish top of the table, get the wins out, not so much on how they played, almost like Madrid. And it worked, but you're at Liga MX, papi. It's not what you do during the season, it's what you do during playoffs. And that's
Mhm.
something he was not accustomed to.
Yeah, that's what they were mentioning. That he was confused on the aspect of the Liguilla. Like he didn't get that. Like he thought, but just by winning, like getting all the points, like he said, he was so used to European football, like he fell out of place.
But didn't he play at Atlante?
Yeah, but just for a season or two. I mean,
Yeah, and it's plus the whole mindset of like the whole coaching and everything that your job is to get the result during the game and like do well, be in the top of the standings, be first place. And then you come out to this shit and you lose versus eighth place in playoffs and everything you did throughout the whole season goes out the window.
mhm.
For sure. Pastor, what you got for me? Closing thoughts.
I'm just gonna say that those Atlas titles, I look them at the same way as that Liverpool Champions League title versus Tottenham. It might count on paper.
Oh,
It might count on paper, but as a fan, it will never count. It's gonna be a
what are you
bullshit
talking about?
plastic title.
How
Bullshit
can you
plastic
how can you
title. It
how can you
counts on
say that?
paper, but in reality, it's a bullshit plastic title.
How can you say that when all of Chivas' titles were in black and white, my guy?
Hey, all of Chivas titles in black and white, or all of Chivas titles, Chivas only having 3 in the last 30 years or whatever. But if you look at all the files, all the things where VAR should have stepped in, where Atlas should have had red cards from last Liguilla, this Liguilla, that
What about
non-existent. What?
Chivander when they won the title against Tigres? The
Yeah,
same
and
ref.
Chivas also deserved the PK in that first leg versus Tigres. But this is the thing: you're talking about one play in the final. You're talking about one play
No,
in the
no,
whole
I'm talking.
playoffs run for that
I'm
Chivas
talking.
title. If you look
I'm
at the
talking about
Atlas,
refs
if you
in
look
the
at the
3 games in
Atlas
a
from
row.
this title and the last title, there's at least 8, 10 different fucking plays that are like, yo, what's going on here? And then also that the president of Atlas is brothers with the chairman of the refs. Like, come on now. How funny that it's one of the most influential guys in Mexican soccer, which is Alejandro, whatever his name is.
Either
Igori or whatever. How funny that right when he takes over, his influence takes over, and he takes a team not being champs in 70 years, back to back titles, and you have all that dubious refing as well. The Liga MX is becoming like the WWE, man. It's just entertainment.
Come on,
Scripted
man.
entertainment.
So you're gonna mention all that, but you're not gonna mention the fact that Chivander was in those last 3 Liga games for Chivas. In any other part of the world, they would have made a scandal, would have been on the front news. But in Mexico, they just everyone had their hands behind their back. Oh, it's fine.
Hey, in Mexico, nothing is made a big deal. Whether
Isn't
it's
that- isn't
Chivas,
that the-
America, Atlas favor, nothing's made a big deal.
A
I
ref
mean,
3
look,
times.
look at Xolos.
I don't know
Look
about
at
that.
Xolos and Querétaro, same owner. Anywhere else in the world, if two teams that were fighting for the Descenso Personal were owned by the same coach, same owner, it'd be a big ass deal. Liga
Didn't-
MX is a whole different animal.
Didn't America beat San Luis in the final, and they were owned by the same Televisa?
And then
Necaxa.
and they beat Necaxa on the final. Same
Oh
thing. There
my
you go.
God,
Anywhere else that happens in the world, come on now.
that's
But
some-
this Liga MX, man.
That's what I'm
Like
saying.
this-
Liga MX it's becoming like the
You gotta take
high
your hand
of
about it.
WWE.
Well, right now, Atlas is The Rock, and Chivas is a I don't know, like a loser wrestler. That's how it is right now.
Rikishi.
Yeah, Atlas put the people's elbow on Chivas. That's what happened.
No, I disagree with that. You know why?
Vince
More
came
people
out.
talked about the Alan Mosso trade than they did a talk about a bicampeonato from Atlas.
That's paid off propaganda reporters, man. You know that.
Oh,
Play for the fans, like my boy Alvaro Morales says. These guys get paid off by that Gonzo director Mauri.
man, I don't even want to talk about Marty. That dude's a whole nother show.
All right, that's the bell, folks. I love it. Las uñas came out. I love it though. Want to thank everyone for hopping on tonight. I appreciate you guys. Definitely made the podcast after Joel left. He didn't want to.
Now you,
He didn't want to answer
it's
some
all
questions.
I was ducking.
Yeah, Kashima fan on YouTube. Thank you for hopping on. Not sure who you are, but welcome to the Cantina. We'll be back. There's plenty of other Partido Moleros coming up. We have Nations League kicking off next week. So even though the Liga MX season is over, there's always going to be some drama, some transfers. So we'll see what happens between now and then. But I want to thank everyone, and I hope y'all have a great night and a great weekend. Peace.